Hey everyone, in this quick video I wanted to walk you through how to create, export, and import Conda environments. Now you technically already have some experience working with Conda environments because you had to create a Conda environment in DSC 80 to work on your assignments in DSC 80. But as a quick refresher, what is a Conda environment? You can kind of think of it as a combination of a Python version and specific packages. And the idea is that when you're working on different projects, you create a Conda environment for each one so that you can use different versions of, say, like NumPy or Pandas or TensorFlow for those different packages, or those different projects rather. And the fact that you want to use different versions for different projects doesn't clash with one another. If you try and install these different versions all directly onto your computer in one big environment, well, then you can run into these dependency issues where with one project you're trying to use one version of a package and with another you're trying to use another, and those are incompatible with for some reason. Okay, so the idea is for most of your projects, you're going to want to create a single Conda environment and then use it such that everyone in your group has it activated when you're running and writing code for your project. You're going to also want to include it in your GitHub repository so that we, methodology staff, or even just random people on the internet can also just create that same Conda environment and make sure that when we run your code, we're using the same versions of all of the packages that you needed to use. You'll also be able to use your Conda environment on DSMLP to make sure that you're using the same versions of all of the packages that you are on your local computer on DSMLP. Okay, so you're going to have Conda installed on your computer. It's actually already installed on DSMLP, but on your local computer, you're going to need to install it. There are several installers available for it. I'll post more about that in the written article. For now, let's just assume you already have Conda installed. You might already, because like I said, you had to use it in DSC 80. To create a Conda environment, what you're going to do, and that is to create one from scratch, you're going to say something like Conda create -n, then you're going to pick a name for the environment. I'll say, I don't know, 180a-example, and then you have to pick a version for Python. Okay, now by default, if you don't say Python equals anything, it's just going to use whatever Python version is installed on your computer by default, which I can check mine is to be 3.9. But if I need to use a different Python version for this environment, like 3.7 for some reason, because maybe I need to use a TensorFlow version that only works with Python 3.7 or something like that, I can specify that here. Okay, note that before I ran anything, it just said base in parentheses at the top, and that's because when you have Conda installed on your computer, it's always by default going to launch you into the base Conda environment. And if you want to use any one of these other ones, you're going to have to activate them. Okay, so now I'm saying, hey, make a Conda environment with this version of Python. Do I want to proceed? Yeah, sure. And then after a while, it's going to create it, and it tells me that if I want to enter that Conda environment, I'm going to have to say Conda activate 180a-example. Okay, now you'll see at the start of my terminal, it says that I'm in that Conda environment. And now the idea is when I install packages, either using pip install or Conda install, you can use both of them here. It's not going to interfere with my base environment or interfere with any of my other environments. So maybe I want to install Baby Pandas, DSC 10 example, but I want to use a particular version of it, like an older version of like 0.1.5. I can do that. It's not really clear why I would need to do that, but I can do that here as long as it's compatible with the Python version I picked. Okay. Good. And now if I say pip show Baby Pandas, it'll tell me the version I have installed is 0.1.5 versus if I go into this other tab, which now I'm in my base environment and I say pip show baby pandas, it's going to say 0.1.7 most likely, or whatever the most recent version is, 0.1.9. Okay, so now I'm showing you how I can have different versions of packages installed in different environments. This again is my base environment. Okay, so whatever dependencies I need for my project, I can install them all in this environment. Then the idea is, okay, you've created your Conda environment. How do you make it so that other people can use the same environment? And the idea here is you're going to use the command conda env export -- from history, and then you're going to put this, greater than sign and write environment.yml. And essentially what this is going to tell Conda to do is take all of the packages that you manually installed yourself, in this case just Baby Pandas, and as well as the version of Python that you want, that is 3.7 here, and store all of this information in this configuration file called environment.yml. So other people will be able to take this environment.yml file and create a Conda environment from it. Okay, and so what I can do is use the cat command to show you what's in here. And you can see that, I guess for some reason it didn't include baby pandas in here, but in general, what it's supposed to do is include all of the dependencies you installed in this YAML file. And the idea is you can then export this YAML file, or not export it, but you copy it. This is just a file on your desktop. You can copy it into your GitHub repo, and then other people can use it to create their own Conda environments. So to show you how to create a Conda environment given a YAML file, what I'll do just for example is deactivate this one. Note, to enter a Conda environment, you have to activate it, right? So if I wanted to enter back in it, I'd have to use 180A example, Conda activate 180A example. Now to deactivate it, that'll bring me back to my base environment. And the reason I'm deactivating it is because I want to delete it and recreate it using this environment.yaml file. If I use conda env list, it's going to show me all of the Conda environments on my computer. You can see all of those are here. Let me move this window over here. And what I want to do is conda env remove the environment 180 example, and I'm going to use the flag --all to remove all of the packages that were installed with it. I believe it might just be conda remove, not conda env remove. There we go. And so now I can't even do something like conda activate 180 example because it's gone. Now the reason I did that is because I wanted to show you how I could create a new Conda environment from an environment.yaml file. Remember, environment.yaml included a name for this environment. Okay, so if what I want to do is create a new environment based off the specifications in this YAML file, what I'm going to do is use the command conda env create -f environment.yaml. Okay, and what this is essentially going to do is just take all of the information in environment.yaml and use it to create a new Conda environment that has the name that is specified at the top. Now that's why I deleted the old 180 example name, because this was going to recreate it. Though if you're a user, someone else in your group or a random person on the internet who happens to already have a Conda environment named whatever's at the top of your YAML file, they could just change this in your YAML file to be something else, and it would create that new environment. Now the environment is created for me. I can activate it, and we're good to go. I should have all of the same packages that you have installed, or that you want users to have installed, and we're good to go. Now, one thing that I didn't really talk much about was why did I use the -- from history flag when creating my environment.yaml file? And it's because when you use -- from history, what it does is it just includes all of the packages that you explicitly told it to create, instead of also including the OS specific packages that it had to install that package. So here's what I mean. For example, to install baby pandas, it may have needed to install some specific Mac OS packages that someone on Windows or someone on Linux wouldn't be able to use. And so by using -- from history, it just says, hey, all you need to do is install baby pandas 0.1.5. And when installing that, if you need to install other dependencies, we'll then do it specific to your machine. Okay, again, just ignore the pretend somewhere in here it says baby pandas == 0.1.5. Not quite sure why that didn't appear here, but the idea is the same. Now you have this environment.yaml file. It's just somewhere on your desktop or wherever you happen to run this code. And what you can do is include that in your GitHub repo, and in your README, just include instructions on how to create a Conda environment with this YAML file, and that should suffice for most projects with regards to reproducibility. Okay, it'll make it so that other people can run your code and not run into any environment issues. So that's how you create, activate, export, and import Conda environments. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to let us know on Ed.